Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Will It Extract. As always, I'm your host, Benedict, and I'm joined by The Edge. Recently, The Edge and I were taking a walk around some of the nature pathways that we have located wherever we are, and I noticed some things that were, needless to say, a little disappointing and disheartening. On these very verdant and beautiful green pathways, I noticed some plastic waste that was just so callously discarded to the wayside. And despite my cheerful disposition, it filled me with unbridled rage. The Edge only understands binary, so of course they didn't understand what was wrong with this, but my emotional response was enough to warrant this here script. Plastic has much better use than being discarded to the side, and can be used for things like recycling. And Edge, did you know that as of 2016, only 14% of plastic waste worldwide has been recycled? Compared to other commodities like newspaper or aluminum, which have recycling rates of 80% and 76% respectively. Japan actually has an 86% plastic waste utilization rate, which includes things like approaches for incineration for fuel. Plastic recycling does have its fair shares of challenges though, and the process is very lengthy. All plastics must be first collected, sorted, and washed before any actual processing can occur. Physical recycling, which is one of the two manners which plastics can be recycled, involves grinding the plastics into powders, which is then remelted and extruded back into pellets. Chemical recycling breaks down the plastics back into its monomers, which can be used for further production through things like enzymatic reactions or pyrolysis. Recycling isn't easy. It introduces new risks into the plastic manufacturing industry, such as contamination or varying formulations. It's important to analyze the new resins for quality to ensure that they are still usable for whatever next step they're going to be used for, such as food packaging. Now, how would one go about analyzing and making sure that these plastics are of quality? Well, we'll talk about that in our next portion for sample prep for extraction on the Edge. And now, we're moving on to sample prep. For any plastic sample, whether they come in pellets, sheets, or rods, we want to go ahead and first grind down the plastic into as small of a sample as possible. So for example, here we have some whole plastic pellets, and here we have some pellets that we have grinded down into a fine powder. This can be achieved through any means possible, including cryo grinding or milling. So for our actual sample prep, we'll go ahead and take our sample holder, the Q cup. We'll simply go ahead and disassemble its two components. Into the base, we'll insert one of our S1 Q discs, a pre-assembled stack of glass fiber filters, placing it into the bottom, making sure it's laying nice and flat, and then reassembling by simply screwing together the body and the base. After the Q cup has been assembled, we'll go ahead and pour in our pre-weighed plastic sample. This is roughly 1 gram of a plastic powder. For plastic extractions, we generally recommend around 1 to 2 grams for a sample size. And after the sample has been added to the Q cup, we can go ahead and insert one of our Q screens into the opening. Press down with the tool. And just like that, our sample preparation is done. We can then go ahead and add the Q cup right into the rack, placing an extraction vial right beside of it. We'll go ahead and load the rack right into the Edge. And I'll go ahead and come around. We'll go ahead and I'll select the method, load it into the Q, press play, press start. Now that the Edge is fully loaded, we'll go ahead and let it do its thing, and I'll see you all in a few minutes. And here we have both our extract as well as our extracted sample. So thank you, Edge. Here is the sample extract post-extraction. For plastic samples, one can expect swelling and or change in luster or color for the plastic sample post-extraction. As for the extract itself, you can see that it is clear and nicely filtered thanks to that Q-disc that we put in for the inline filtration. For analytes in this extract, one might be looking for things like UV stabilizers, antioxidants, slip additives, or any other things used in plastic formulations. Well, thank you all for joining me for this week's episode of Will It Extract. For more information about the Edge automated extraction system And for our other offerings, like the Mars Microwave Digestion System, please visit our website at cem.com. Are you recyclable, Edge? You know, I think for the most part, a lot of sheet metal that can be reworked. I feel like your plastics are recyclable. So yeah, I think you're mostly conventionally recyclable. Me? Well, not conventionally, no. I don't want to be reground and melted back into pellets. I mean, as organic matter, I guess we had to cycle through the ecosystem. So I guess when I die and decompose, my nutrients and my chemicals will be kind of recycled throughout the biosphere. That's what you mean? Yeah, I guess when I die, I replenish the earth and give it more nutrients and stuff, but I have to die first, Edge. Ooh, I don't like where this is going.